This two-bedroom apartment generated over $30,000 in a single month on Airbnb. But even though you can make great returns on short-term rentals in Dubai, it's not as simple as it sounds. The area, type of property, and even the approach to pricing have a huge impact, as you can see by looking at these two similar properties. So in this video, I'll give you a full guide covering all of that, plus investment economics and risks, starting with choosing the best area for Airbnb in Dubai. What you should know to make this choice is that there are three main groups of people who book Airbnbs in Dubai. They have different needs, so different areas are best for them. So let's go group by group, and I'll share the most popular short-term rental areas and those that have the highest potential, because these are not the same. Number one is tourists. They are mainly concentrated in two places in Dubai. The first is the core leisure zones: Dubai Marina, GBR, Palm Jumeirah, and Blue Waters. And it's quite obvious why they are historically great for Airbnb. All of them have beach access, a lot of restaurants of different kinds, hotels, and tourist attractions like in Dubai and Blue Waters, Atlantis Aquapark on the Palm, zipline and skydive in Marina. The second area for tourists is downtown. No need to explain why. Burj Khalifa, dancing fountains, and Dubai Mall are huge tourist magnets. So the area has around 300,000 visitors a day. So these are the main tourist centers. But the common thing that happens across Dubai is that simpler, more affordable areas emerge near the more hyped ones. And often these simpler areas are more lucrative investments. Right next to Marina there is GLT, and right next to downtown is Business Bay. They don't have any attractions, but they're perfect for budget tourists. In my opinion, the areas we just discussed could be stable, low risk, moderate reward investment, because they are not cheap anymore and there is not much development going on. So if you want to maximize your rental yields, the best tourist area for Airbnb, hands down, is Dubai Islands. I mention it fairly often, so real quick, three main points about it. Number one, it's like Palm Jumeirah, but better. It's built by the same developer who built the Palm, and it's designed like an open bay, so it has better water flow. Number two, it will be the main tourist area of the future. The plan is to have twice as many hotels as the Palm has, a huge mall, almost as big as Dubai Mall, a golf course by the seaside, an artificial reef, and many other tourist magnets. Number three, it's at the earliest development stage, so the prices here are the lowest they'll ever be, and for some properties that can be almost twice as low as ready alternatives. Now I want to make the difference between developed and the emerging tourist areas even more obvious. This is Blue Waters. On the surface, it looks like a dream Airbnb location. It's walkable, right near Dubai Marina, has the world's largest Ferris wheel, a beach in a 5-star hotel, and over 200 retail and dining outlets. A one-bedroom there costs around $1.3 million. That gives you a net short-term yield of roughly 7%. A two-bed is about $2.4 million with yields closer to 6%, and a three-bed costs $3.5 million, giving you less than 6% yield. That's not bad, but compare those numbers to 2019. And one bed costs $670,000. So those who invested back then now generate short-term yields of almost 15%. So if you enter at the right time, you can get much more impressive yields. But tourists are not the only ones who generate short-term rental demand. The second group is business travelers. They need short stays for work, and they naturally want to be close to major office hubs. Number one, Business Bay. It's one of the largest office hubs in the city. Over 45,000 businesses are already registered there, and it's growing, and once it's fully developed, it will accommodate more than 100,000 office workers. Then there is downtown. Imar Square alone offers over 1 million square feet of office space across 6 low-rise buildings. Next is DIFC, the financial center of Dubai. By 2024, there were around 46,000 professionals working there. Last is the GLT and DMCC free zone. It currently has over 24,000 registered companies, and there are around 120,000 people working in GLT daily. These are the main office areas, but there is the same trend we saw with tourist areas. Communities nearby also get decent Airbnb demand. Like Shoba Heartland, it doesn't have any office space itself, but it's a 10-minute drive to downtown. Because it's more affordable, it attracts plenty of working professionals. And there are three areas that have major growth potential for this group. The first is the second phase of DIFC. Dubai is tripling its size of the current financial center. The expansion will add 13 million square feet of new space. The second is Expo City. It's a 3.5 square kilometer area being transformed into a mixed-use hub for 35,000 residents and 40,000 workers. So we discussed tourists, we discussed business travelers, and there is one more group: expats. Of course, most of them rent long-term, but according to some property management companies, a huge share of short-term rentals is currently occupied by expats. First, these are those who are relocating to Dubai and are currently choosing the right place to live. Second, there are winter residents and digital nomads, so they spend 3 or 4 months in Dubai and then move somewhere else. So when they choose a neighborhood, they often have very similar criteria to residents, and they typically stay in popular residential neighborhoods like Dubai Hills, Greek Harbor, or JVC. Once you've picked the right area for Airbnb, it's time to make the second important decision: choosing the right unit type. For Airbnb, the winning formula is location plus view. Guests care more about experience such as waking up to a great view and quickly getting to their destination than they do about construction quality. Regarding the sizes, it's a bit tricky. Let me show you with an example. This is Kayan Tower in Dubai Marina. If you rent the studio here every month throughout the year, then the owner would make about $62,000 on Airbnb. If we assume 80% occupancy, that's $50,000 yearly revenue. A 2-bedroom in the same building would make $94,000 at 100% occupancy, which works out to $85,000 at the 80% occupancy. Now look at the purchase prices. A studio costs around $804,000, giving a rent-to-price ratio of 12.2%, and a 2-bedroom costs around $730,000, giving 11%. So at first glance, the studio looks like a better deal. But this isn't the full picture, because in Marina, studios directly compete not just with other studios, but also with hotels. So if you want to win a budget tourist, you have to compete on pricing with cheap hotels with small rooms. And to win the competition, you need to make your unit stand out. And before we discuss how to do exactly that, let me offer our help. In this video, I squeezed as much useful information about Airbnb investment in Dubai as I could, but it's still a fraction of the value we deliver to those who work with us directly. And to prove it to you, we're doing free consultations. Like, we're literally delivering all the value before you make an investment, absolutely free of charge. What we do exactly are 4 things. First, we build a personalized list of properties that match your goals, budget, and risk appetites. Next, we prioritize it with you, using facts, data, and financial analysis. Then we secure the strongest unit available and negotiate the terms. Finally, we rent it out or resell it to maximize the returns. To book a free consultation, scan the QR code, click the link below, or send us a WhatsApp message. Now let's discuss how to make an Airbnb unit generate as much revenue as possible. Here are 5 simple actions you should take to drive the revenue up. Number 1. Do a custom professional design. No offense, but many people who think they can do it themselves have no taste. It doesn't need to be expensive though. I'll share the design and furnishing prices a bit later. The reason why it should be custom is that if your unit looks like dozens of others, then you compete on price. This is the main reason why buying fully furnished apartments from the developers is a bit controversial. Number 2, the description should reflect the uniqueness of the unit and reduce ambiguity. Because again, you want to differentiate, and you don't want to make the customer feel that they're getting a random property. Number 3, use dynamic pricing. The goal is to make your unit always occupied. This means that the rates should be adjusted based on demand. If the demand is low, it's okay to reduce the price significantly. You don't want your property to be empty. Number 4, keep promoting your listing. Those who crack the direct bookings make the most money from short-term rentals. Number 5, you need good reviews. And for good reviews, you need to create a frictionless guest experience. Keep the apartment super clean, make check-ins easy, so guests can arrive anytime, and small extras. And make sure you're answering all the questions your guests have quickly. All these things are a lot of work. So what pretty much everyone does is hiring a professional property management company. They work for a cut from your revenues. And to explain to you how it works, let's make a deep dive into short-term rental economics. Before a first guest arrives, you'll need to budget for a few one-off costs after buying the unit itself. First, there is the Dubai Department of Economy and Tourism costs. They charge an annual holiday home permit. It's size-based, the price is on your screen, so you can pause and take a screenshot for later. Second, there is a one-time lock fee of $190 plus $70 per utility connection if the manager handles the service setup. Third, there is an initial deep clean when the apartment is onboarded. The prices are here. And finally, the largest upfront cost is furnishing and design. The general range for a full setup for each unit type is on your screen now. And once your Airbnb business is working, there are ongoing operational expenses. Management fees typically range between 15 and 25% of the rental income. This fee includes all the property management services, including cleaning. Insurance is also required, and it usually costs between $150 and $325 per year plus VAT. Then the utilities and community fees, they're also your responsibility. For maintenance, it all depends on the unit you have, and this cost bucket grows significantly over the years. So, those are all the costs associated with actually running an Airbnb. Now I'll walk you through how the revenue and pricing actually works. Your rental income begins with the nightly rates multiplied by the number of nights booked. The nightly rates itself gets lower the longer someone stays. Guests who stay for a week or a month get progressively bigger discounts comparing to those who stay for a night. Then the booking website takes the commission, and after that, the management company takes the 15 to 25% fee I mentioned before. Payments are transferred once a month, but only after the booking website releases the money. This means your cash flow depends on the platform's payout schedule. Keep in mind that a normal unit achieves around 70 to 75% occupancy on average, which is roughly 259 booked nights per year. For well-managed units, occupancy can climb to 80 to 85%. And the best ones can be 95% plus. Now let's put it into practice. Let's run an investment case and see how this would play out with a real example. Airbnb investment case. Let's run the numbers for a 2-bedroom apartment in Cayenne Tower in Dubai Marina. Say someone buys it for 2.7 million dirhams, which is 735,000 US dollars. The property has no furniture, so to prepare it for the guests, the owner selects a high-quality furnishing package priced at 15,000 US dollars. This package covers all furniture, decor, delivery, and assembly, but not repainting, electrical fixes, or minor repairs. Those usually cost another 2.53 thousand US dollars. That brings the total furnishing and setup to 17.7 thousand US dollars. And this is a pretty realistic setup. Next, we factor in all the one-time setup and compliance costs. The Dubai Economy and Tourism Holiday Home Permit for a 2-bedroom is $180. The lock fee is $190. Utility connection through the property manager at $70. An onboarding essentials pack, including smart lock and basic consumables, is $270. The initial deep clean is $135. Next, there is the revenue. A 2-bedroom in Cayenne Tower could generate around 86,000 US dollars per year, assuming a conservative 80% occupancy rate. The management company then charges its fee. We'll use 17% commission here. It's a real offer from one of the companies we're partnering with, so the owner's share drops to around 71,000 US dollars. From this amount, the owner still needs to pay recurring costs. The annual insurance is about $270, service charges for a 2-bedroom in Dubai Marina are around 4,000 US dollars, utilities for guest use at another 3.3 thousand US dollars. Maintenance for this apartment should be around $1 to $1.5 thousand per year. These recurring costs equal slightly lower than $9,000 per year. Now the net annual income comes to about 62.7 thousand US dollars. This is the main figure that matters in the investment case, and that's around 5.2 thousand US dollars in monthly cash flow. The total investment capital was 753,000 US dollars, so the net yield is 8.2%. But as you know, such yield is also achievable in long-term rentals with much less hassle. Which brings us to the next section: why you should even consider investing in an Airbnb. There are basically 3 reasons why short-term rentals are worth it. First, there is flexibility. You can rent the apartment short-term and use it yourself whenever you like, for holidays or business trips. The main consideration is seasonality. In Dubai, winter is the peak season, and nightly rates are much higher. So if your goal is to maximize income, it's usually better to rent out the apartment during these months instead of staying there yourself. Second, there is pricing freedom. In long-term rentals, laws and lease contracts limit how often and by how much you can raise rent. Practically, many renters pay the same price for years. With Airbnb, there are no restrictions. You can adjust your prices every day if you want and eventually get a higher yield. Third, liquidity. When someone will like your property to live there, you can just stop renting it out. It will not work with long-term rentals. You'll have to give a tenant a 1-year notice. So this way you have the freedom to exit whenever you want. But of course there are risks. First is occupancy. You can't expect your property to be booked every day of the year. A typical short-term rental in Dubai is only booked for around 259 nights per year, so you need to plan for vacancies and periods without income. Another risk is that Airbnbs are hit hard during economic downturns. The graph on your screen shows what happened to global travel during recession. According to US Bureau of Labor Statistics, from 2007 to 2009, there was a 13% drop in international trips. Drops like this often affect occupancy rates and prices. Obviously, it doesn't happen every other year. And if you're willing to take on these risks, Airbnb can bring a lot of cash. If you want our help with finding the right unit for Airbnb, Get in touch with us. Our contact information is in the description. And to learn more about Dubai real estate, check out this video.